Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham. Welcome to the Stage 13 betting preview of the Tour de France. Well, we should be in for a very interesting stage today. It's one of the, on the face of it, the sprinters will be interested, but when you look at the profile, it's not going to be easy stage to control, and it's certainly not going to be easier for the heavy men to make it right to the end. We'll get to that in just a little bit, though. Before we get started, just a reminder that if you like the show, hit the like button for us. It does help the show's rankings a lot and also helps to grow the Good for the Game channel. So we really appreciate the support there. Let's get into stage 12, a stage that finished up Alpe d'Huez. And it certainly didn't have the fireworks that we saw on stage 11, but it was nonetheless a very exciting stage. A small break getting clear, Louis Meintjes from South Africa riding across, and ultimately Tim Pidcock and Chris Froome also riding across. Now, those who follow the preview will know, yes, I had a Louis Meintjes at 66-1, and at one stage, he was always just behind Pidcock in the betting, but at one stage he shortened to about the 2-1 mark. Unfortunately, though, he just found Pidcock too strong on that final climb of the Alpe d'Huez, and he finished in the end 48 seconds back. Great ride by the young Briton there, by the way. I never realized he could climb like that. And Chris Froome, well, I've never been the biggest Froome fan, but I've got to say it was great to see him at the business end of the race, and certainly looks like he's slowly but surely recovering from those injuries. And just, I think for him personally, was a massive result yesterday to finish in third on such a tough stage, because let's face it, it was an absolute killer stage with those three massive climbs. As far as the outright contenders go, Pogacar there just getting ahead of Vingegaard, but no time gate. He did try a couple of times on Alpe d'Huez. I think I saw enough yesterday to think that Pogacar's bad day is potentially out the way. And I think from here on in, we're going to see pure defense from Vingegaard as he looks to just stick to Pogacar's wheel. He certainly hasn't shown any signs yet that he's going to be cracked. And it's going to be very difficult for Pogacar now, because you take a stage like today, if you were up against a leader that had a weak team and you had a strong team, you could possibly put him under pressure on these sort of rolling stages. But it's not going to happen with Jumbo-Visma. They are just too strong. Another massive performance from Wout van Aert. Let's just touch on the classifications quickly before we move into the stage. Obviously, very little change to the general classification other than Leonard Kamna, of course, dropping totally out. He came within 11 seconds of the yellow jersey, but we're never going to hang around. And we've pretty much got what we got, 13 seconds between Pogacar in second and Bardet down there in fourth place. But what I want to have a look at, though, is the King of the Mountains. And it's because I posted a bet on the Good for the Game forum, and there's a link down below to that if you want to follow what the boys in the forum think. Yesterday, and before the stage, I took 150-1 Louis Meintjes for King of the Mountains. And I knew he'd ridden well yesterday, obviously, but I didn't actually realize that he got himself into second place, just 4 points behind Geschke. I've got no idea if Meintjes is going to be targeting this jersey or not, but I'm certainly hoping he would. And I would like to think Meintjes should rather target King of the Mountains rather than a 10th or 12th place finish or something in the overall classification. So here's hoping. I see he's about 14-1. And on that note, let's go and have a look at the classification betting. Vingegaard in the yellow jersey, 3-10. Pogacar, he's 11-4. You'd get 18-1. Thomas, 50-1, and better the balance. Points we don't have to touch on. Wout van Aert, 1-18. Absolute sure thing there if he can stay on his bike. Mountains classification, we've got Vingegaard here at 4-1. Pinot 13-2. Pogacar 7-1. I want to have a good look at this mountains classification at the coming stages. I'm not sure that Vingegaard would be the call here. I think he's going to ride a very defensive race from now on. So Pinot as well has got a lot of work to do. And in fact, let's just open that mountains classification betting and have a look here. Warren Barguil, Ciccone, who struggled a bit on the climbs. It surprises me, for example, that I see Ciccone at 11-1. But Louis Meintjes, who climbed so well yesterday, only at 14s. Pidcock, of course, could also suddenly target this jersey as well. He's at 18-1. But let's hope Louis can keep rolling there and give us some joy. Not much else to say on the classifications. The team competition, and for some reason, once again, it takes a long time to come up. The team competition, I can tell you, Ineos trading, I think, around about 1-3 mark there. Let's have a look. 3-10, yeah, which is pretty much the 1-3 mark. And Jumbo-Visma 5-2. It does look a two-horse race. Jumbo-Visma won't go for it, but with the strength of their team, there is a chance they could win it pretty much by default. I'm going to whip onto the stage betting there now, but before we do that, let's have a look at the stage profile. And here's what we got in front of us today, 192.6 kilometers. Very much a downhill start, which is going to make it quite difficult for the break to form. But then we get to this little Cat 3 climb, 2.4 kilometers at 6.9%. That should be enough to see the breakaway go. And it's going to be very interesting to see what type of break goes. Of course, the teams that are interested in bringing it back as a bunch sprint, and there are quite a few of them, will want to make sure that it's a weak break that goes. And at the end, but on the other side of the coin, it's not going to be that easy to control on this climb. Still, it's not a long climb; it's 2.5 kilometers, and there's a good chance a smallish break gets off at this point. If it doesn't, and we're still racing along the sort of flatlands here until we get to this climb, which is a Cat 2. 5.1 kilometers at 6.6%. I mean, this is definitely where the break would go if it hasn't gone through. And if the break goes at this point, wow, we could get some strong riders in. It will be pretty difficult then for the sprint teams to keep things together. Now, will the sprint teams, will any of the tough sprint teams, and I'm thinking Trek, Segafredo, and that ride this hard to try and drop the likes of the Groenewegen? It's possible, but at the end of the day, this is a long way out, and you'd still have plenty of time for him to get back in. But more importantly, and we go through the sprint here after 101 kilometers, not much to report on there. But more importantly is that we've got another climb here with about 50 kilometers remaining, 6.6 kilometers at 4.5%. And that's pretty tough. And I mean, if Groenewegen's climbing a lot better than he was, but I can see why he's so big in the betting. It's going to be very hard for the likes of him and probably Jakobsen to hold on here. Caleb Ewan also hasn't been looking particularly strong in the mountains. So expecting a lot of pressure on there. I think at the end of the day, we're going to get enough teams involved in the chase to bring it back together. But we're not going to come back together as a full peloton at the end. I'll be very surprised if that's the case. Now, in fact, we're probably going to have a much reduced peloton sprinting it out with a couple of tough men going for the sprints. We'll have a look at the betting now to see what the bookmakers think about. Even once you're over this climb from this 165 kilometer mark, there's sort of gradual climb all the way up there to near the end, and there's a slight rise at the finish as well. So it's going to be an interesting stage. These sort of stages often are, and certainly a lot of tied legs in the peloton, and nothing is going to be straightforward today. Let's just pop on to World Sports Betting. We'll have a look at their winner markets here. Wout van Aert 9-2, no doubt about it. Van Aert, I don't see Jumbo-Visma working for the sprint finish here. Could be wrong. But the reality is that the other teams will, and the chances are they're going to bring Wout van Aert to the line, and he has looked absolutely incredible. Strong easy, though, after these last couple of days. I don't know. I mean, knowing him, he's strong. But, will also Jumbo-Visma want to maybe just keep him in check a little bit, because it's clear that they're going to need him. Pogacar's found his form again, and it's going to have to be all hands on deck for Jumbo-Visma. Jasper Philipsen, he's at a couple of second-place finishes so far. He's 5-1, and Jakobsen 11-1, not for me. Mats Pedersen 14s, and let's get into my bets here now on that note. My main bet, actually, and I'm going to go the top three finish, which is at Sunbet. Let's just pop onto the stage here. If I have a look, Michael Matthews. So if we look back at the stage here, I'm expecting, I don't think this is a Groenewegen stage. What does that mean? It means that Bike Exchange have to put all the eggs in the Michael Matthews basket. He's been climbing very well. He's also been sprinting well. The problem is for him, in a sprint finish against like a Wout van Aert, he's unlikely to beat him. He's unlikely to beat a Philipsen as well. There is a chance that he, a couple of those guys may not even be involved in the finish. So we'll see. I mean, he's got a chance, but it's certainly not going to be easy. But I think that Bike Exchange are going to put the eggs in there with Michael Matthews. You'll see Groenewegen just ahead of him in the betting. Matthews is 22-1, but the bet I like here is 6-1 for Matthews to finish in the top six. I'm going to put 2 units on that. That's my big play of the stage. By the way, just looking back to yesterday's stage, although Mankey's missed out, and unfortunately I had a match bet with Pitcock. Can you believe it? You pick a 16-10 match bet who's 66-1 for the stage. You run second in the stage and you lose your match bet. I mean, that was quite something. But the good news is my other match bet, which was Mas over Vlasov, arrived, and in the end showed a very small loss on the stage, which keeps us nicely ahead for the Tour de France, which is always a good thing. If I can get to the Tour de France at the end 1 unit up, I'm very happy, because I've had so much entertainment along the way as well. Right, let's just have a look here at our other bets. I'm going Mats Pedersen. I think the Trek Segafredo team are going to make things very strong on that climb with 50 kilometers to go to shed some of the sprinters. And I like the look of Pedersen. He might battle against certainly Wout van Aert and Philipsen if they're both there at the end. But he must have a chance. He's going to have probably Steven leading him out. And I think he's worth a crack there at 14-1. And of course, I've backed Matthews at top 3 at 6-1 at the main bet. But then I'll feel a bit of a bit down if he wins. And I'm not on him at 22-1. So half a unit there on Matthews at 22-1. That is it. Let's quickly have a look. I don't normally do this, but let's have a look. I haven't actually had a look at what lies ahead for stage 14 on Saturday. So let's just pull up that profile. And you can see the old, I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi or the jolly computer at the moment, but things are not going smoothly. Yeah, one of the reasons I'm out late with this is we had massive power failure last night after load shedding, always fun. And then this morning at 8 o'clock, I go off again for load shedding. Now, welcome to South Africa, everybody. Right, let's have a look. Oh, nice hilly stage this. So we've got a couple of Cat 3s. This is going to be a very interesting stage tomorrow. And this finish certainly looks tough. What are we looking at there? It's not it is classified. 3 kilometers at 10.2%. Wow, that's like a wall almost. It's going to be very, very interesting. And a finish certainly for the tough men. What a pity the likes of Mathieu van der Poel are no longer there. Thanks everyone for watching. Enjoyed doing this preview. Looking forward to some great Tour de France action this afternoon and on the weekend as well. If you missed our rugby show, by the way, Thursday Night Live, I'll put a link up at the end here, but you can go onto the YouTube channel and look for that. The Handicap Rugby Chat, that matters. Plenty of great bets on there as well. Have a good one, everyone.